Hare Krishna will be starting in about 7 minutes. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll be starting in about 4 minutes. Hare Krishna. Welcome back to our ongoing adventure in self-realization based on the wonderfully exciting and positively challenging guidance of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. So, we're on Krishna Katha often, YouTube and Facebook platforms, live, as well as on Zoom here. I've set up Zoom because we can be more interactive. I've invited many people to join, and I find it's most alive and exciting and invigorating to exchange, to be interactive. I know when I am included in something, it becomes partly mine. I'm appreciated. So I do this as an interactive discussion. I will present and facilitate and lead in that regard. At the same time, I'm committed to making this most enlivening and useful, valuable, practical, helpful for everyone, for you in your daily life. So therefore, I'm calling this presentation, my regular Sunday classes, Living the Bhagavad-gita. So please check in, say Haribol, or thank you, or whatever moves you, whatever is going on for you right now. And I've entitled this particular class based on second chapter of Bhagavad-gita, text number 41. Can Bhagavad-gita be discouraging? Can Bhagavad-gita be discouraging? And I can expand on that during our discussion today. Chant some Jai Radha Madhava briefly, and say some further prayers of invoking auspiciousness, and jump right in. And please feel free to jump right in anytime. Ask a question, comment, challenge, doubt, realization, inspiration. That's what Bhagavad-gita is meant to bring out, everything. So if you have Bhagavad-gita available online or hard copy, please have it ready. We'll go through the Sanskrit word meanings, translation, purport together and see what kind of nectar and realization and doubt or question, whatever, we can stir up together. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Jashoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana, Jashoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Ava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Jashoda Nandana Prajanna Ranjana Jashoda Nandana Prajanna Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astatara Sajashi Shrimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astatara Sajashi Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON BBT founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Sakaho, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath, Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Mathura Ki Jai, Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Shri Dwarka Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai, Shri Gornitai Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Subhadam Baladev Ki Jai, Shri Radha Giridhari Ki Jai, Shri Damodarastaka Ki Jai, Shri Damodar Vrat Ki Jai, Shri Kartik Vrat Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Shri Krishna started with Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. I may be entering some things into chat. Welcome and please say hello. Haribol. So yes, now this month is Kartik, Damodar Mas or Damodar month, most auspicious, and taking part in discussions like this are even more potent than usual. Very auspicious time for engaging in spiritual exchange, spiritual development, Krishna consciousness, bhakti yoga. So go ahead with our verse for today. Bhagavad-gita, chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Text number 41. Now this verse, every time I return to study this chapter, I realize how it is contents of the entire Gita. And this particular verse today, for me, this is one of the most, maybe the most, amongst the top 15 verses, prominent, important, powerful, and valuable verses for me. Prabhupada quotes this many, many times. So I'll say the Sanskrit first myself, and then you can respond as best you can, with or without seeing it. When I become more technically aware, I will be sharing it on the screen. For now, we'll do it like this. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Please repeat as best you can, even just by hearing. That's the best way. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Welcome, Dave.
Haribol, Atma.
Haribol. Great. Glad you could join us. So we're live on YouTube and Facebook's Krishna Katha Auckland platforms, and we're live here on Zoom as well. So we're studying Bhagavad-gita, second chapter, text number 41, which for me is a very powerful and valuable verse. I just mentioned a minute ago that this is especially potent at this time of year. This is called Kartik. Probably it's the most auspicious month of the year on the Krishna calendar. And the month itself is also called Damodar, which is the name of Krishna, when he was bound around the waist with a rope by his mother Yashoda for being naughty. So that's the particular pastime. It's in the Krishna book, chapter 9 and 10.
Okay.
I hope you're feeling more rested now, Dave.
Yeah, I'm coming on. Got a
Good.
few more days in. Got a few more days in here.
Okay.
And it's okay.
Good. And I've invited everyone to just jump in anytime during our discussion, because I'll be facilitating, of course, leading. But I like to make it very interactive, so that any questions or realizations or doubts or inspirations that come up while we're discussing, please just jump in. I find that's most enlightening, as works for you. So we're going to go through the word meanings of this particular verse. Text 41 of the second chapter of Bhagavad-gita, contents of the Gita summarized. And as best you can, just repeat the Sanskrit, even if you don't have it in front of you. So the first word is Vyavasayatmika.
Vyavasayatmika.
Resolute Krishna consciousness.
Resolute Krishna consciousness.
Buddhi.
Buddhi.
Intelligence.
Intelligence.
Eka.
Eka.
Only one.
Only one.
Iha.
Iha.
in this world.
in this world.
Kurunandana,
Krunandana,
O beloved child of the Kurus.
O beloved child of the Kurus.
Bahusakha,
Prabhushaka,
various branches.
various branches.
He,
He,
indeed.
indeed.
Ananta,
Ananta,
unlimited.
unlimited.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also.
Budaya,
Budaya,
intelligence.
intelligence.
Avyavasat, sorry. Avyavasainam,
Avyavasainam,
of those who are not in Krishna consciousness.
of those who are not in Krishna consciousness.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Please repeat. Those who are on this path
Those who are on this path
are resolute in purpose,
are resolute in purpose,
and their aim is one.
and their aim is one.
O beloved child of the Kurus,
O beloved child of the Kurus,
the intelligence of those
the intelligence of those
who are irresolute
who are here resolute
is many-branched.
is many-branched.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. A strong faith in Krishna consciousness that one should be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Shraddha Shabde Vivasva Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya Krishne Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Haya. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past good or past deeds. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge, Vasudeva Saramiti Samahatma Sudurlava, by which one comes to know perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As water on the root of a tree is automatically distributed to the leaves and branches, in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayers for the spiritual master as follows. This is the last of the 8 Guru Vastika samsara prayers. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado. Yasya prasada nagati kutopi. Dhyayam stuvam stasyaya jastri sandhyam. Vande guroshi charanara vindam. Quote. Now this is a different translation than we usually have in our songbook.
Mm-hmm.
By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. End quote. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body. Not theoretically, but practically, when there is no longer chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. One who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashtachadi Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripatamam Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. By the mercy of the spiritual master, a lame man can cross over mountains, and a dumb man can compose eloquent poetry. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Vyavasayatmika Budhir Ekeha Purnandana Bahushakahyanantascha Budhayo Vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So, in preparing for this, I found it quite striking that the first thing Prabhupada talks about in the purport is faith.
Mm-hmm.
So that indicates to me that to become resolute and to give up the irresolute, being many branched, splayed out, affected by all the unlimited distractions, mentally, physically, in our environment, in our relations, so many things. It's very important that I develop a strong faith in Krishna consciousness. So that, for me, that's like the foundation, the bricks, the solid ground by which I can aspire to come to this state of being fixed, resolute, undisturbed, dhira in Sanskrit, undisturbed by anything other than what I'm fixed on. There's that history of Arjuna in his training with his brothers, Pandavas, his military training when he was a teenager. And the end of it, who was it? Dronacharya. Dronacharya was actually an acharya. He was a Vaishnava. He was a great devotee. And yet, because of the need, he took the position of a military teacher. A Vaishnava can actually do anything from that transcendental position. And in turn, Dronacharya asked each of Arjuna's brothers, Nakula, Sahadev, Bhima, and Yudhisthira, to aim at a like a form of a bird in a tree. And everyone said, and he asked them when, after they'd drawn their arrow and they were aiming, he said, "What do you see?" Some of them said, "Oh, I see the tree, I see the bird, I see you." And then finally, Yudhisthira, who's the last one before Arjuna, he said, "Yudhisthira, what do you see?" And he said, "I see the tree and I see the bird." And then, but he dismissed them all. He said, "You still have further to go in your perfection of aiming and shooting." And then Arjuna was last, and he said, after Arjuna had aimed and sighted the bird, he said, Dronacharya said, "Arjuna, what do you see?" Arjuna said, "I see the bird, nothing else." And then he said, "Okay, so shoot, let the arrow fly." And that was it. So that's a graphic example of what being resident. There may be so many things around, and in one sense, we could see them all, or we could concern ourselves with them, or I can be concerned with whether the tires in my car are good enough to drive on the motorway. And it's not that that's not important, but if I'm fixing Krishna consciousness, that's there, but I'm not distracted. I'm not focusing. I'm not meditating. I'm not, what to speak of, being disturbed by it. Yeah, my body may not be, my body may not be very healthy. In your going through horrendous challenges physically, which is also, we were saying, can be so disturbing. What to speak of finances and all these other things. So it's not that we deny them, or we negate them, or they're not important. No, we accept and we deal with them, but we're resolute with Krishna in the center, and then automatically we can deal with these things peacefully, without being disturbed, which Krishna also describes in Bhagavad-gita. One should learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. They're all there, and they can be super disturbing, and that's material life, to be so disturbed by all the externals or the secondary things that I can't even be peaceful. I can't be satisfied. I can't be happy. I can't be fulfilled. What to speak of being generous and charitable and helpful with others. I can do those things, but they won't be whole. If I'm a people pleaser, for example, I'm not really, it's not really coming from my spiritual self. It's coming maybe more from, I want to get acceptance, or I want to be validated. I want to be popular. I want to be seen as a nice guy. Those are okay, but they may not be coming from within. They may be coming from the externals again. So all different levels of potential distractions. And that's what this material world is. Maya's expert. She's a pure devotee. So she sets up, especially for those who are endeavoring to advance in Krishna consciousness, those things that she knows may be more important to us from our past lives. She's a pure devotee. She can tell where we're at. So she may bring up those things which are especially difficult for us as a test, as an opportunity. Maya has this thankless task, Prabhupada calls it, thankless task of bringing up the opportunities which actually are not helpful directly in our Krishna consciousness. Those tests, they're helpful because we get to see, we know that Krishna is giving Maya this power as his agent to make sure that we don't just take Krishna consciousness lightly, or that because giving us liberation, giving us material opulence, so many things Krishna can do, and he does. But to allow us to enter into the realm of love of Krishna, to be intimate and to be trustworthy and very close with Krishna and his most intimate associates in the spiritual world or on the spiritual platform. That's most difficult, and it's the most wonderful, and what we aspire for, love for Krishna. Still, Krishna he doesn't award Krishna prema so easily. At the same time, we know Lord Chaitanya came and he gives that. At the same time, we have to be very vigilant ourselves that we are advancing. And Prabhupada talks about that. And what I've entitled this particular class, the title is in the form of a question. Is Bhagavad-gita discouraging? And I know myself and many other devotees, practicing devotees, they find it that, for example, in this purport, Prabhupada says in the second paragraph, faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. And then when one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family, traditions, humanity, or nationality. When one is, skipping a sentence, when one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results of his activities. So that I see that as the highest level. And Prabhupada, a few sentences later, he says the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. So I may accept that giving up material attachments, giving up material activity, family, obligations, work, anything like that, is ultimately what I want to do. But right now, I'm probably not personally. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm on the way, and I'm making progress. But most of us in this material world, it takes some time to. I'm getting a message. My audio quality is not so good. Are you still hearing me clearly, Dave?
Yep.
Okay. There's some gap. Yeah, I think. And then I'm going to close some things that might be using too much bandwidth. See how that goes. Okay. If it doesn't improve, I'll turn off my video. So that reading statements like this can be discouraging. Oh, I should be there, or I should be more advanced, or I should be more faithful. My faith, and we can get all negative or mental that, oh, I don't have very strong faith. And Prabhupada's talking about how much deep faith we should have. And then I may think, well, I'm not there. And we may conclude, oh, I can't advance seriously in Krishna consciousness. So it comes back to faith that, and Prabhupada says faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. And I looked up the dictionary definition of sublime, the word sublime. And the adjective form means something lofty or grand or exalted in thought, expression, or manner. And then there's the second definition is of outstanding spiritual, intellectual, or moral worth. And then the third definition is tending to inspire awe, usually because of elevated quality, as of beauty, nobility, grandeur, or transcendent excellence. And they've obviously got the spiritual aspect here, whether the people who wrote that dictionary had any spiritual realization or not. They're including it in their description. So Krishna consciousness is the most sublime, the most lofty, the most grand, the most beautiful, the most transcendent. So having faith, And for me, this verse is one of the most important verses in the entire Bhagavad-gita, describing how I want to become resolute in purpose, so that I'm like Arjuna. I'm fixed in Krishna in the midst of all the distractions or the responsibilities.
Right.
Taking care of I'm not going to neglect the body. I'm not going to neglect my car. Otherwise, I won't. If I don't take care of the tires, I won't get very far. If I'm not stopped by the police, I'll probably have an accident and do damage to myself and maybe to others, or even wreck the car on the motorway. So I don't want to ignore those. And I want to be resolute. I want to be fixed. I want to be steady, not just up and then down and up and down, but constantly, steadily progressing, not letting any distractions deviating. Any thoughts or questions so far, Dave?
It's sort of it's kind of relevant to where I'm at the moment, I think, just from a personal perspective, and so many things ahead of me, but not being able to tackle them, and sort of still in the mind and being able to try and stay in the present, and do what I can. It's like, as someone who's normally out there, doing things, and I won't be able to do that for the foreseeable future, and it's presenting some challenges for me, but I'm doing my best to keep up my reading and some chanting and stay in the zone.
It's you've got so many challenges right now. You're doing your best, and I get that your main focus now is to get your energy back and get your physical condition back to healthy. That sounds like what is the focus? Your resolution now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how can you come back to the state of being how you were, taking care of so many responsibilities, and they're all there, they're sitting there, but you're focusing on first things first.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that, but it's just trying to keep the my level of spirituality, my level of spiritual awareness up.
Yeah.
While I'm my routine's all out, my sleep's all out. Sleeping during the day and awake during the night. But there's a lot of people a lot worse off than me, so I'm just grateful for what I've got.
Yeah.
Friends and family and support, and I get constant Krishna messages every day from different sources, from friends, from my family, from Danny on the Kirtan group, so there's enough there to consciously, for Krishna to consciously be popping up every hour, so
It's a challenge to keep up your Krishna consciousness, because of the physical and the routines out of whack, out of sync, so completely different from what you would normally do. And at the same time, you're appreciating all the support and appreciation to help you do that. And it sounds like you're okay focusing on what's important right now, and also there's a sense, whether it's concern or not, I don't know, but you there's aspiration there to get back to the regular by focusing on what's first right now.
Yep. I mean, there's it's sort of like I've sidestepped off the taken an off ramp off the freeway, and everything just keeps moving along. And at some stage, you're going to have to get off that freeway and catch up,
Yeah.
to where I was.
You're at the rest stop now, and
Yeah.
taking care of the vehicle, make sure you have the oil, the petrol, the
Yeah.
water, the tires, and everything, and just getting that ready. Otherwise, you better not get back on the motorway. You're not going to get ready.
I'll get run over by a truck. Yeah.
Like the analogy. Yeah. So I was for me a lot. What comes out for me in this first and second from the first and second paragraph of Prabhupada is that faith is the basis, and a large part of it is accepting myself as I am, where I am right now.
Yep.
And accepting the reality around me as it is right now in relation to me, and adjusting my own focus according to my need in relation to what's going on internally and externally, and being real when I'm that accepting that instead of resisting it. I know dear Brenda Prabhu often says resisting or fighting reality is a losing battle. So I often think of that. So to be able to accept myself as I am instead of how I should be, and at the same time not being complacent, because healthy expectations are valuable. I just came off a Tove masterclass about the 3 different modes of nature just a couple of hours ago, live from Florida, with 30 around the world. Well, also I think 2 other devotees, if not 3, who are here in New Zealand.
All right.
Invited onto this masterclass that you were facilitating, was alive. And the thing he said was that he said attachment to someone else, I think. Attachment to expectations are maybe premeditated resentments. Attachment to expectations may be premeditated resentments. So if I have a colleague, say one of the Krishna team members, and I'm expecting them to be more communicative or more open and vulnerable and honest about what's really going on internally for them, or in a relationship or in their lives, that's what I call healthy expectations. So the statement attachment to expectation. So it's not the expectation that's distracting me or disturbing me or frustrating. It's my attachment. So if I'm emotionally attached to this particular person being a different way, then if they're not that way, I may become angry or upset or just judgmental of them.
Yeah.
Critical.
Yep.
So we make that distinction between the expectation, which is healthy. I expect myself to advance. I expect this other person to be better. It's a question of how I relate with that. Am I attached to it, or am I willing to and simply practice to speak to that person in a way that they feel encouraged? Because if I come from attachment, I may come across in a kind of, you should be this way. In other words, you're not good enough as you are. You're not all right. I'm not actually accepting who they are.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah. Because they're not meeting your expectations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I'm attached to them meeting my expectation, then I create a problem for myself. I'm frustrated. They feel uncomfortable with me. They may feel, whoa, where's Atmananda coming from?
Could be the end of a long friendship.
Well, it could come that far. You could go that far. It's been like that in the past. Sometimes it's been like that with bhakti.
Yeah.
So much familiarity is there, but we've stuck with it, and we've come a long way. So that those things, either they don't come anymore, or we resolve them even within minutes. Before I would do the passive abusive thing for weeks. So So this training in transformative communication, which Atmananda and the Sappho Institute promote and teach, based on coming to more and more in the mode of goodness, the Sattva Gun.
I think I need to look some more into that, eh?
Well, it's so valuable, and it's right there in the Bhagavad-gita. What is it? 14th chapter, modes of material nature. Where are we? I took quite a few notes this morning. Very enlivening. Yeah, Bhagavad-gita verses 17, 18, 19. They talk about how different things in our world and the things that we do, including thinking, they're in the different modes. What food we eat, how it can be in mode of goodness, sattva guna, how it may be in the mode of passion, rajasic, how it may be in the mode of ignorance, tamasic, tamas. The food, how we think, how we like to give in charity, we like to be generous, and yet what mode we're doing it in, that determines the satisfaction and the success of it. So many factors are determined by these three modes of nature. Everything, in fact, everything, and our how we speak, how we think about ourselves, how we relate with others. They can be in any of those three modes, or some mixture. And in the material world, there is always mixture. There's a whole science which Krishna goes into, expands on that in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. So, I was also impressed by Prabhupada's statement at the end of this second paragraph. This state, the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. So that really gave me more hope and faith and encouragement, because I realized Prabhupada is saying, okay, he's presented the highest level perfection, highest perfection in Krishna consciousness, and then he says how that can be achieved. Because it could be discouraging, but then Prabhupada says, all right, this state is automatically achieved by progressive. So progressive, if I'm, as you say, doing your best, I'm doing my best. If I'm always being diligent to notice how well I'm doing, especially in relation to how well I've done in the past, because I've achieved certain levels in the past. Now, maybe I've slipped from that for whatever reason. How I want to be conscious of how I'm adjusting my life now, so that I can get back to that according to in a realistic, practical way, without damning myself or being frustrated or angry that I'm not advancing quickly enough. So and this word automatically. Because sometimes I think, or people think, or devotees think, that if I chant Hare Krishna, and I do this, and I follow certain rules and regulations, and etc., then automatically I'll just
be liberated.
It's almost a mechanical thing.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot in that, because for me, automatically doesn't mean just by going through the motions. Just by going through emotions, I'm going to get the result. Automatically means to me that if I try, Krishna has promised to help me, because he's the one who disperses the illusion, helps us to deal with all the material and gross and subtle challenges. So it's automatic because Krishna's promised. It's not automatic because I'm just going through the motions. And I like to make that distinction, especially for myself and others that I share with, my circle of influence, so to speak, because automatic, it's easy to take automatic as meaning that if I just chant a regular number of rounds, or if I follow regular principles, or if I do this ritual, or I go to the temple, or if I worship the deity, or I go to whatever, if I'm just going through the motions, that will give the result. That's not Krishna consciousness.
No, it's a bit like thinking about changing the tire on your car while you're doing the rounds. You know, it's like your mind's, you're going through the motions, but your energy is not behind the behind the activity, is it?
No.
Yeah, your consciousness isn't behind the activity.
Exactly. It's almost a cheapening of Krishna consciousness. So I can just do anything and go through the motions, and I'll just automatically become a pure devotee. And I think that's a dangerous mentality. Not that everyone has that, but I think it's often there, because I know myself. I'm in this world because I want to have it easy. I want to make no endeavor and get all the results. That's materialistic mentality. And as if I'm not responsible for what I do. It's the hippie mentality. I can do whatever the blankety blank I want, and I'm still, and often Christianity becomes like that. Like, I believe, I accept Jesus in my heart, therefore I'm going to go to heaven. It doesn't matter what I do. I mean, I can say, I can ignore the commandment, thou shalt not kill. I can eat all kinds of dead bodies, and I believe I accept Jesus in my heart. I don't want to be negative or overly critical. The same thing is there in Krishna consciousness. I can say, I accept Prabhupada, I accept Krishna, and therefore, whatever I do, I can criticize devotees unnecessarily. I can avoid advancing. I can break my vows. I don't have to chant 16 rounds a day. I promise Prabhupada, but I'm older now. Blah blah blah. I mean, obviously, I have to consider my material condition. I don't want to ignore the vehicle. But if I have that mood, Krishna he's not going to take me seriously. So, in connection with this, Prabhupada says, I forget where it is. It's in the Bhagavad-gita. I think it's the second canto. He says there's a certain quality of chanting. So, like you say, I can be fixing the tire on the car while I'm chanting, but if to fix the tire, I have to be focused on that, and my focus on chanting is just non-existent. So that's a very important distinction for me. That and Prabhupada also says in the Nectar of Instruction, advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So the attitude, the quality, the focus, the dedication, the devotion, the love ultimately that we put into our endeavors as best we can. That's what really not only impresses Krishna, but attracts Krishna. In fact, it obliges Krishna. Krishna's when the devotee, the gopis were lamenting that Krishna had left Vrindavan, he didn't come back. He promised to come back. He lived in Dwarka, and he was being impressed by all these beautiful ladies in Dwarka or Mathura, and they were just crying and indirectly criticizing, and they were directly criticizing. Oh, he's able to speak such sweet, charming words, and we believed everything. But where's the result? He's not here. Of course, Krishna suddenly never left Vrindavan. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but they were in this mood of separation, and sometimes it came out as apparently harsh criticism. And Krishna accepted it all. He said, "I'll never be able to repay you. The reward you have is the service, the connection, the service itself." So he was really being honest and vulnerable and humble. I mean, that's on the pure level. So we can't maybe understand that fully, but at least the lesson is there. That Krishna feels so obliged to someone who is struggling and suffering. Even Prabhupada, as you know, had 2 heart attacks. The Pandavas, they were persecuted horrendously. They were tried to Duryodhana and Kala, they tried to assassinate them and kill them by burning down their house. Disrobe their wife Draupadi in public. They were persecuted and abused so terribly. So, and then when, as I think we discussed before, when Bhishma Dev asked Krishna, "How could you allow this to happen to your pure devotees, the most surrendered, advanced, sold out, loving devotees, completely Krishna conscious? How could you let that happen? How could Krishna let you, Dave, who have been so serious about Krishna consciousness, get struck so terribly physically?" And then, of course, we don't pretend to be on the same level as pure devotees, but Krishna responded, "Why did I do it? I did it to increase your attachment to me." So Krishna is just so fully absorbed in giving himself to these devotees. He's obliged to them. At the same time, he wants to increase that intimacy, that dasa, that connection, which is often felt in separation.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, I might have to go now, Atma.
Okay.
I think they're going to come and take my blood.
Okay. Well, I hope you'll. I sense. Did I send some laddu with you to you?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Some of the sweets. If it's appropriate, please share it with nurses, whoever.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome. I wanted to contact you before, but I was afraid sending you a message, WhatsApp or text message, it might disturb you from your rest. So I'm glad you've been in touch again. So grateful for you to be here together.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll be in touch.
Great.
Haribol. Cheers.
So we're going to finish up the Bhagavad-gita class now. And if there's any, and we do have a couple of minutes, if anyone either on Zoom or on the Facebook or YouTube channels, please let us know you're there or have any question or any inspiration. Ami Atma Prabhu is often here. Don't know if you're there, Ami, but if you have some inspiration or some realization or something you'd like to share with us, please do. That's anyone. So let's see, I'll just bring up some other points that I thought of when I was preparing for this class. That just going through the motions. Sometimes the group of the class of people in India or anywhere in the world now called Smarta Brahmins, they tend to be very attached to the rules and regulations. And Buddhi Mantaprabhu was telling me yesterday that he's met a man whose father is from Varanasi, India, one of the seats of knowledge of Krishna consciousness. especially impersonal, but he had been brought up by a smart Brahmin family. And when he was a teenager, when he was a young man, he met a Maori lady in India and fell in love with her. And because he wanted to marry her, and he was intending to, he was rejected by his family. So the smarta Brahmins, or the ritualistic Brahmins, or even we ourselves, if we only go along with the externals, just going through the motions, deity worship can be like that. Chanting Hare Krishna can be like that. I'm just moving my mouth and my mind is all over the universe without making any endeavor to bring it back and hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then that superficial application of Krishna consciousness, just as Rupa Goswami describes in Nectar of Instruction, just following the rules and regulations for the sake of following them, that's called niyamagraha. And that's one of the things that actually destroys devotional service. So this man, he came with the Maori, he married the Maori lady, and he's here the father of the man that Buddhimanta met came to New Zealand with the Maori lady, and his son, who he met, what's his name? He told me what his name is. I forget. It's an Indian name. Obviously, he was here with his father. He was born here. And he also fell in love with a Maori lady. And he married a Maori lady. And yet, when he came to Vanessa's op shop, he bought some things and he saw forms of Lord Jagannath. Now, he had no clue, he had no idea what these forms were, and yet he bought them without knowing. So he's obviously got this Krishna consciousness in his blood, in his DNA. Without awareness, he's attracted to Krishna consciousness. So I think we're going to keep in touch with him and invite him to our programs, especially our Wednesday evening program. And that's the other thing, anyone who's interested, we have our Wednesday evening program weekly, 5:30 to about 7:38, New Zealand time, PM, New Zealand time. So, and anyone who's local, of course, is welcome. And anyone who is from a distance, if you want to take part, we can see about setting up a Zoom connection. So you can be here virtually along with us who are here physically. So I brought up that example of the Maori, the Indian man of Indian Maori descent, whose father was rejected by his family because they were so attached to the rules and regulations and the strict following of social etiquette, so much so that there's no Krishna consciousness there. There's no result based on the culture that is meant, the Brahminical culture, which is meant to invoke, to encourage, to support Krishna consciousness. Thank you all again. And you can still put comments in, but we'll finish for now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki jai. Sadhu Sangha ki jai. Let us now offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, who are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Hare Krishna.